Hey guys, welcome to the Provokers Podcast, where we talk about things that you probably should too. Today I'm joined by...
Jeevons, or John.
And I am your host once again, Flapjack's Gaming, or Ethan, whichever you choose to call me. But, yeah, so just a clarification point, for the viewers, I guess. Viewers, technically you're viewing this in some fashion, but for the listeners, we're recording this not on Sunday, but on a Saturday morning at 10 o'clock, which 10 o'clock's, most people are up and at by 10 o'clock, but we're not. So, if we sound a little bit tired, that's why. But probably my guess is we'll sound a little bit tired at the beginning of this episode, maybe a little bit throughout it, and then the next episode we might sound perfectly fine because we're used to we're already more than awake at that point. Because John even said he woke up 10 minutes ago, 20 minutes ago. I mean, would be 15 by now. But yeah. So that just wanted to give you a heads up in case you're curious. It's not like we're not sick or anything because it might sound like that. So yeah. But John, what's been going on, man?
Not a whole lot. Started a couple new challenge runs, and so by the time people listen to this, at least the first couple episodes will be on YouTube, so I want to check those out.
Nice. What's the challenge run?
Yeah, I've gotten back into doing some Kingdom Hearts streams. I took a bit of a break because I was like, I think I've done all I can with this, and it turns out I did not. There's plenty I can still do with it.
Isn't it like beating all bosses with a stick or something?
That's how it feels for one of them. It's you got there's so many restrictions. It's insane.
Yeah. Because there's not that these games are at all similar, but there's an Undertale challenge where you beat Genocide with just the stick, and oh my goodness. I mean, it doesn't really matter for Sans because he dodges your attacks anyway, so Sans is still the same difficulty, but everything else, like Undying the Undying, her attack, or whatever weapon you have does matter for her, and so if you just have the stick, it takes forever to beat her. So, yeah, as for me, just been working. By the time this comes out, I should be moved into my apartment by now. By the time this comes out. So, hopefully that went well. I don't know. I'm past Ethan. I can't say if it did or not. But yeah, so I think this comes out in late July. I'd have to double check. But if it's late July, then, I probably also went to, we're having a team rally thing, on a Tuesday, so I'm going to that. It's gonna be lots of fun. There's games, food, and all that good stuff. And you can't deny food. So, I mean, just come on now.
It is good.
And then, for me in my present time, for you guys this won't matter, but for me in my present time, I have a men's barbecue I'm going to at, later today, actually, so. Now, again, food, because there's a barbecue, obviously. But we're having burgers, hot dogs. They're making brisket, which brisket's one of my favorite cuts of meat because it's so good. Mac and cheese. It's gonna be, there's just, I might die. I might actually die of a food coma. It just might happen. I might succumb to the food. But, yeah, so that's how my week's been. So, nothing too crazy. Pretty much, yeah, I've been working on my book. But I kind of do that on and off anyway. I guess I should mention this. I did realize as I was editing the book that there's a couple chapters that I just didn't like. So I'm like, I don't like how I wrote this. So as any writer does, I, just alt-tabbed, or alt F4'd them, basically, deleted them, and so now I'm redoing them, to make them better, because I didn't like how they were written. Because I wrote them all the way back. The chapters, they're the beginning chapters for context, by the way. And I wrote the beginning chapters when I was in 8th grade. So I was a small bean back then, and a very stupid bean back then. So I didn't like how it was written. So I just got rid of them. So now I'm having to rewrite them, which again it's probably for the greater good. But I was kind of already on the editing phase, so now I'm kind of gone back a little bit, but yeah, I think so the headline I got is actually a headline that goes back to one that was for the one that I had said the other day, which was, if you guys remember, Mr. Beast made a company called ViewStats, and essentially it was an AI thumbnail creator, and the AI thumbnail creator would actually take quote-unquote inspiration from other YouTubers so that you could make a thumbnail from the AI based on them, which is borderline infringement. And if it's not borderline infringement, it's ethically infringement. So it just like everyone hated it, basically, myself included, because I think AI thumbnails are stupid looking. So yeah, and then he got all this backlash, which I think is, I mean, no one was like being super harsh, but they're saying like, oh, that's a dumb idea and like that kind of thing. He actually redacted it, so he turned it into a like, I guess it's like a form where you can commission artists for their work, which already kind of exists. So I'm not sure if he's just trying to save face with that one. I think he should have just deleted it, because there's already kind of there's like, I can think of like 3 websites where you can commission artists to do stuff. So like, it's not exactly a unique idea necessarily. So I don't know if he's trying to save face or if he's actually, because if you went to the AI idea first, then that means you don't really care about the artist's commission in the first place. So, because if you wanted to make the like a commission based thing, he could have done that first instead of going straight to the AI thing. So, still not sure how to feel about that. I guess I'm glad the AI thing is gone, because that was dumb. But I think he should have just deleted it. I don't think he should have just like tried to be like, hey guys, so yeah, I changed it. It's a thing for artists now. It's like, well, why wasn't it that in the first place? So, but yeah, John, what do you think about that, huh?
I guess that's better than just being like, oh, you just steal it all you got. You can actually like commission people to do stuff, but like, it already exists. So it is definitely just a way to be like, well, see, I'm not bad. I changed it. You got mad at me and I changed it. It's like, yeah, but you changed it to something that's lame. So it's like, just get rid of it.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. Yeah, I think that's what it is. I think it's like oh, hey guys, I didn't do this. What? So look the other way. What's that over there? So, right. Like I said, I like what Mr. Beast does with his money most of the time. This was not one of them. And he's not a perfect human being, so I'm sorry to the people that still like him, but he's allowed to be critiqued, and I have many critiques of him, and this being one of them. So, just, because people that because this happened back when, Jack and Mr. Beast had their little mini, dispute. Like, the Mr. Beast fans just full-on attacked Jacksepticeye for not liking him. It's like, first of all, he's allowed to not like somebody. That's not even an opinion. He's allowed to not like someone. And second of all, they attacked him for his opinions, and then they were like, "Oh, who is Jacksepticeye?" Like jokingly, because they were like, They're basically saying like Jack has like nothing compared to Mr. Beast, which is more like morally and ethically incorrect. So, yeah, just wanted to point that out though, that we're allowed to have these opinions. Just in case like 99% of you guys out there are fine. It's the 1% that's not. But just wanted to lay that on the ground floor because Mr. Beast has like a cult following, basically.
It's not like we're against charity or anything like that. It's just like we're against specific actions that are actually nothing to do with his charity things.
Yeah, because it was like $80 a month or something, which is, my gosh. Who's affording that, by the way? Like, anyone else having like to use like 20% of their money for just like rent, 30% for food, and like so on and so forth. Like, who's paying $80 a month for something like that? Yeah, like you'd rather spend like $80 a month on your car or something like that. I don't know, whatever. But the $80 a month thing, I don't think was going toward the charity. From what I read in the article, it didn't say that it was going to charity. So, whatever. But let's move on from Mr. Yeast over here. And Creator Showcase. So I tried to find one real quick. Because we're not recording this on Sunday, I didn't have one planned, honestly. And unfortunately, I didn't have a chance to pull up an email. I think I looked at an email the other day, and it wasn't about the situation. So I was tempted to use it, but I can't find it again. So what I'll do is I'll try and find this email for the next episode. and I'll try and read it over there, because I'm scrolling through right now and I can't find it. I don't want to be scrolling for like 5 minutes. So we'll just get right into the topic, which today's topic, ladies and gentlemen, is going to be a banger, because if you've been listening for quite a while, you know about the reset button, which the reset button in season 1 was the most highly rated episode outside of just a couple other ones. Not only in our ranking, but in your ranking as well. So by your ranking, I mean, first of all, you guys have sent me a couple of your tier lists because it's an active tier list that exists. But what I mostly mean is, I can see which episode has the most downloads. And the reset button, I believe, is number 6 right now. Which is not bad. It's pretty good. Top 10. So, it's one of my favorite episodes of season 1. It's one of your guys' favorite episodes of season 1. And then, there was the Vanish button, which was the true sequel to the reset button. And, that happened, I think, like 20 or 30 episodes ago, however long ago that was. And it was a true sequel to the reset button. And then I think it was in that episode that I teased that there was going to be one final part of the reset button trilogy. And here we are, ladies and gentlemen. We have arrived at your destination. So, John, are you ready to finish off this series? This little mini-series? Well, too bad, John. You have to do it anyway. So you guys have read the title, obviously, so you already know what the finale episode's called. But John doesn't know, because he can't see in the future. He doesn't have a hot tub time machine. Doesn't have the ability to do that.
How do you know of?
I mean, I feel like if you had a hot tub time machine, you'd at least tell me about it. I mean, come on, man. Okay, where is it? Why can't I find it? There it is. Okay, so, welcome, John, and everyone else, to the override button. So, let me just read you the kind of situation that you're in, John. So, you and your friend got a coffee and a donut at your local coffee shop. Then the next day, you did it again. Then you did it again. And again. Something isn't right. You're in a simulated universe. Your whole life is a lie. Your parents don't exist. Your friends don't exist. The world itself doesn't exist. Do you desperately try to escape the simulation, or do you go on with your life knowing the truth that the world you're currently living in is a simulated one? So, that's your situation, John. So, I guess we're going to start this one how we have started every reset button episode, which is, you find this out, what's the first thing that's going through your mind?
Well, the first thing going through my mind is, man, I wonder these donuts always taste the same. Because, normally when you get a donut, it is a bit of some variety, it's not always the same because it's different people making it every time. But it's a simulation. It makes sense. And then I'm like, well, what's going on here? Because I don't want to live in a simulation my whole life. That would be boring. I gotta live the real life. Live what's real. So then that's what I'm thinking.
Interesting. Yeah, I feel like for me, part of me would be surprised, part of me wouldn't. Because if I had concrete proof it was a simulated universe, I'd be like, okay, that makes sense for a couple of things, right? And then I'd be like, wait a minute, but this doesn't make sense. So I'd be going back and forth with myself, honestly, because I wouldn't understand what I'd be doing. So yeah, it'd be kind of because your whole life would be a lie because you've been told either two different things, right? With how the universe was created, right? So it's like once you're told, or once you find out it's a simulated universe, you're like, wait a minute, because then your life is predestined. You can't truly have free will if you're in a simulated universe, right? I guess not necessarily, because you could have free will inside of a simulated universe as long as whoever created the universe allows that, right? So if they find out you're you have free will, they're like, oop, delete, you're gone. So, or they just delete your code or something, whatever, however it's working. So yeah, John. So that's what you're mentally thinking. But so what's the first thing you do though?
I'd probably try to go find to see if other people are in the simulation. If some of these, if it's all just programmed responses and things, or if there's other people like me who realize it's a simulation and is trying to get out.
Interesting.
That's probably the first thing I'd do.
I'm trying to think if I would do that. Would my first thought initially be to check if anyone else knows? Honestly, I don't know if I would. Because my first thing I'd probably do is... I don't know how I'd do this, though. Because, like, if I'm like... Because I play enough video games that I'm like, okay, if this is a simulated universe, there's gotta be an edge to the world somewhere. But, like, where would that be, right? So I'd be like, oh, crap. So, like, is it super high up? Is it, like, just to the... Is it, like, near the edge of Russia where I've never been? Like, I don't know where it'd be. And also, that'd be really hard to accomplish. Because, like, I'd have to get on a plane, and I'd have to drive, or, like, that kind of stuff. That'd be my first thought, though. Like, one of my first thoughts is, like, okay, this is a simulated universe. There's gotta be an edge to the world somewhere where maybe I could get out. But, obviously, that would take a while to even figure out if there even was one. So, we're gonna start with the first kind of situation that's gonna happen. Because obviously you're already in the situation, but we're gonna start with the first major plot event of this one. Which is, John, you're just having some time with your family. You know they're like the family you've had the entire time, but you know that it's still a simulated universe, but they're still your family. And as you're eating dinner on the table, you see all of them turn to dust. They've been deleted from the game. So what's the first thing that goes through your mind with that one?
Starting Thanos, why you gotta do this stuff? And then I'd be like, well, something's going wrong. There's definitely some, now this is definitely concrete information that this is in fact a simulation. Like, even if I was doubting it before, it's definitely clear now. So I gotta figure out what's going on and hopefully not turn to dust, just like my fictional family did.
Yeah, so it's for me it's interesting because like I would understand I'm in a simulated universe, but at the end of the day I still made connections with these people, right? So for me it'd still be kind of sad because I'm like wait a minute, it's still a simulated universe, but I still loved them, like that kind of thing.
Right.
So it's still, to me, it'd be a little sad that I would see them, because it also happens while you're in the room. It's not like it happened, quote unquote, off camera, right? It's like you're just having your spaghetti, and then poof, Thanos comes into the mix. Not really, obviously, but you know what I mean. Turn to dust doesn't have to mean the typical, what Thanos did. Yeah, I'm not sure, like, what I'd do necessarily. I'd probably just be in shock for a while. Because I'm like, wait, what? What is going on? Where'd they go? So yeah, I'd probably just be in shock for a while, if I'm being perfectly honest. But John, so, like, you just said that you would try and figure out what's going on. Like, do you have an idea of how you would even accomplish that?
Well, as far as I'm aware, I've never been inside a simulation, so, I'd probably, my gut instinct would be to find research, look for things that don't make sense, look for things that would appear to, be some kind of exit, ways that could potentially lead me out, I've seen movies or TV shows where it's like, there's this part of the map that nobody ever talks about, or nobody ever goes there. And be like, well, let's investigate those things, because maybe no one ever goes there because they're programmed not to, because that's where the edge is.
Interesting. So would you go to like a computer lab to do this, or like a library? Like, where would you go to look up this information?
Probably a computer lab, because I'd be like, all right, let's see if I can find some things online. Be like, don't ever go to insert forest here. You just don't want to go there. I'm going to explain why it is that you don't want to go there. You just don't want to go there.
Okay, so you would use like kind of the mysteries of the life before, I guess, is what I'd say. Because like it like that article might have still been a thing, obviously, and like maybe the creator intended it to be like, oh, there's a demon in the woods. Like they or like there are people that, how the people that say like, oh, I get a strong sense of evil or something in there, like something like that. Because obviously humans can't sense evil necessarily. They can, like, humans can sense, like, that, this is kind of a little bit off track, but it's interesting. You know how you can feel when someone's staring at you? Does that happen to you? It's I saw on a short the other day that it's actually your survival instincts. So when someone is staring at you and you feel the sense of someone staring at you, your brain is like, someone's looking at us. Let's make sure they're not a threat. And so you got to like kind of look around and stuff. So that's why that happens. But little side piece there. I just found that interesting when I heard that.
So you're saying we have spider sense?
Pretty much. I mean, yeah, I was gonna say pretty poor spider sense, all things considered, but it's like we're like baby Spider-Man, basically. So
makes sense.
It's confirmed, and this is factual in every single way. But yeah. So back to obviously the situation. Yeah, I mean, I think I would definitely, at some point, I don't know when, but it'd be early on, obviously. At some point, I would definitely do some research, because I'd be like, I need answers now. Like, I need as many answers as I can possibly get. Because, like, if you find out you're in a simulated universe, and also you just witness your family get deleted from existence, like, I'd be determined to figure out what's going on. I'd be determined to figure out who's behind it, like that kind of stuff, right? So I guess that's another thing, John. What else would you research, you think? Like, besides, like, trying to figure out maybe an escape route, what else would you be curious about looking up?
Maybe to look up even in our real world, assuming we are in a real world, there are people online, you'll be a conspiracy theorist, like, it's all simulation. It's like, I'd be like, let me look into that, because maybe they're onto something.
Right.
So I'd look at the conspiracy theories that are like, it's all a simulation. Like, really? But like, that seems accurate. So are you programmed to be like breaking the fourth wall, or are you real?
Right. Yeah, I'd look up, like, I'd try to find out if I could find out who's behind it, like, or like something like that. I don't know if that would even lead anywhere, but I'd try to see if that would lead anywhere, but it doesn't necessarily have to.
Right.
Alright, so let's move on. Speaking of the person behind it, we're gonna move on to the next kind of plot device here, which is the Overlord finds out that you're sentient, John. They figured it out. They realized that you're not going on your destined path. You're not going on the path that was designed for you. So, and I guess, like, I'm not sure how you'd figure this out, but you know that they know, basically. So, would you be, like, living in fear now, or what would you be feeling, first of all, I guess, is what I'll ask first.
I'd probably be feeling pretty nervous, because I'm like, they just turned my family to dust. I don't know if they were, like, did that on purpose, or they were just freeing up space, who knows. But if they could do that to my family, who's to say they can't do that to me? Because I am in the simulation, I am sentient, but that doesn't mean that I am not bound by the rules of the reality I'm in.
Right. Yeah, I'd probably, like, be very kind of, like, because you also don't know what your set path is. So even if you tried to, even if you wanted to go back to following it, you really couldn't, because you don't know what your set path is. Or you don't know what you're, quote-unquote, programmed to do, right? It's because, like, obviously people might be like, well, but the whole coffee shop thing seemed to be at least part of it. And yes, that's part of it. But, like, once you get past the coffee shop, it's like, you're supposed to obviously do something from your quote-unquote code, but you don't, because you don't know what that is. Like, maybe you're supposed to get into a taxi and drive to the airport that day, but you didn't, because you didn't know that. So, even if you wanted to go back onto your designed path, you can't, because you really don't know about it. So, there's a part of me that would understand that. That'd be like, well, I can't do what they want unless they literally tell me what to do. And then maybe I'd probably have to do it. So yeah, that's probably the first couple things I'd think. But, so, knowing that information though, John, what's the first thing you do though?
First thing I do, knowing that they know that I know.
Yes, knowing that you know that I know that you know that I know. That you know,
Yes. Yeah. That's a tricky one, because it's like you're saying, it's definitely accurate. Like, you can't just, like, go back to the code, because you don't know what that is. If you deviate, it's like the TVA, like, you deviate slightly, they're like, you're dead.
Right, pruned.
Pruned.
Wait a minute! Pruned? prune juice. I've connected the dots.
What artist?
Exactly. Boom. Take that, Neil deGrasse Tyson.
But no, it's like, I guess at this point I'd be like, try to figure out what this entity, this overlord, wants.
Right.
Like, why are we in a simulation? Why, like, does me knowing affect anything? Are they like, yeah, that's fine. They can just do whatever they want. As long as they're not breaking stuff, that's fine.
Yeah, that's another interesting thing, too, is, like, obviously if they know that you're sentient, and that you figured out somehow, like, I don't know if they, like, you can hear them or something, like, I haven't quite, like, it doesn't really matter how you figured out that they're aware, that you're aware, basically. But once you're past that point, they could have deleted you the second they figured it out, right? So something's keeping them from doing that. And because, again, to the point I said earlier, which is you can't go back to the path that even if you wanted to, it's clearly not that they want you on that exact path. Because obviously they would have been like, hit delete and try again, right? So something's keeping them from doing that. And so that is an interesting thought that, well, they're keeping me here for a reason, whatever that might be. Or like where John said, well, they're not breaking anything right now, so they're fine. So, yeah, that's an interesting thought, though. So would you try and hinder them in any way? Like, even if you could, obviously, because you don't know if you can, but would you try to figure that out?
That's an interesting question. I don't know, because it's like, what would hindering the simulation even do for me? It's not like it would help me get out of the simulation. And it could even, like, you know, like I was saying before, maybe they're like, alright, it was fine that you were around because you weren't doing anything, but now that you're hindering my stuff, like, we gotta get it. And
right.
They turned me to death, just like my family.
Well, that's another thing too, is they literally did kill your family in front of your face. So, like, there is that too, so there is at least some bit of hostility, because if they didn't they didn't have to delete your family because they weren't sentient. They weren't even sentient. They just didn't like them or something, whatever the cause they had to do that.
Wanted to give me a superhero origin story.
I was gonna say they wanted you to become Batman. That's what the path is. No, because like the deletion thing is like not what you're supposed to see. Like if you delete something like from a game, like the thing that, let's say you delete someone's family from a video game, they're not going to care because they're not coded to care, right? So, but because you're sentient, now granted, I guess from what I've been doing, they didn't realize you were sentient until after that. But still, they deleted your family right in front of your face. So even though your family, once you figured this out, is simulated, you still like had the care for them. You still loved them as you do today, right now. So I would have a little bit of resentment towards whatever this overlord is, right? So now, obviously, would I try and like stop them immediately? No, just because I don't know if I'd even have the ability to do that. But I would have a little bit of resentment towards them. So what would you feel about them in that current state?
Yeah, I probably wouldn't be happy with them because I'd be like, listen, you just destroyed my family. Maybe they would, but you know that's what I grew up with and what I know. So it's like it's definitely going to have an emotional impact. And be like, if I find some way out of this this simulation, I'd be like, what the hell's going on with you? Why would you freaking kill my family right in front of me?
Right.
So I would definitely be pretty annoyed, I would say, to put it lightly. Yeah,
I mean, that's pretty accurate, so. But now we're moving on, John, to the next plot device, which is the Overlord makes it so that the NPCs start to turn on you. So everyone in your vicinity is trying to attack you and or kill you. So I guess we'll start with what are you thinking first? You start to see like mobs of people coming at you with knives and like baseball bats or like whatever they can get their hands on because the Overlord has turned them against you, basically.
Right. Well, I'd be like, well, I gotta get out of here because I'm not John Wick, you know. I'm not gonna be able to like take all these people. I mean, I'd be lucky if I get a couple of them. So I gotta run, find something to protect myself, and find a way to get out of here so I don't have to live my entire life with fear of being murdered by some NPC with a knife.
So I guess you kind of half answered this already, but so what's the first thing you're doing? Which is that part of it? What you're first doing, or is that just what you're thinking? Because what you do it doesn't necessarily have to be what you thought about.
Right. Well, yeah, that's probably around what I would do is I would go and like let me find some kind of weapon, maybe some like body armor. As you do, like everyone has the weapons and body armor just like kind of lying around.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, like bed knife, bed spear, that kind of thing.
Of course, bed full soda head body armor. It's all right there under my bed, so I'd grab that.
Of course,
for sure, and start getting to the bottom of things. Because before, it's like it wasn't really 86. Like if I was in this fictional world, I'd be like, well, nothing bad's happening, so it doesn't really matter. But now this sticks. Now that my life's on the line, so I gotta get at it.
So I guess that's the great question, John, is with the research you've done, or like just with your wits, like how would you think there's a way to get out of the simulation? Because obviously, if it's a simulation, there probably is a way to break through. But where do you think you would do that, or how do you think you'd do that?
Right. Well, it depends on my research, because if I research something, it's like this town nobody lives in. It's like, then why is there a town there? So maybe I'll go check out the town that nobody lives in. Or I'll be like, let's try to think this out. If I was making a simulation, and if I for some reason wanted to put an exit on it, where would I put it so it would make the most sense? And of course, that would be the Bermuda Triangle. That's why all those ships get lost. They go out into the real world. So I go to Bermuda.
Interesting. So I guess, because like that's an interesting idea, but I'm curious if you would think as well that there has to, like what I said earlier, which is there has to be an edge to the world somewhere. If you go far enough in one direction, you might reach that edge. So would you think that, or would you not even consider that a possibility?
I'd probably think that, and I'd probably research just like, all right, maybe the people who say the Earth is flat, what are their arguments for? Is there anything for that? Because if there is a simulation, then that would provide credence for their Earth is flat ideas. So I'd actually look into like the deep dives of the flat earthers, be like, all right, what are these people saying? Is it all nonsense? Yep. Scam? Got it.
Is it all nonsense? It's interesting you bring up the flat earth thing, because if it is a simulated universe, it doesn't necessarily mean it has to be a flat earth, but it does mean that it's flat for you. Because for the player, for the viewer, or whoever's like using the simulation in any sort of way, they might be able to see it's a round globe, like what it is. But for you, it's just flat, because you're on a simulated plane. You can't see beyond the beyond, right? So for you, it doesn't matter. So for you, it actually probably would be flat. Cause like, yes, you might be going, if there is no edge, like I was saying, but there usually is. Because obviously the way simulations work is they have a certain amount of memory. And if you go past the memory, the game kind of breaks. So you gotta revert back to a save state when you weren't past the RAM. And due to that, that's why you have games that have like edges. Now, Minecraft is a perfect example. Minecraft's world is so massive, but even with it being so massive, it still has an edge to the world in all four cardinal directions. So no matter how far you go in one direction, you will reach an edge. Now, obviously, the reason I bring up Minecraft is because it's freaking massive. If you walk in one direction at 0, it'd take you like, I think it's 5 hours to reach. Maybe more than 5 hours. I saw someone do it. I think it's a long time to reach the border on whichever way you start going. So, obviously the map is massive, but then you go to like smaller maps, like Infamous 2, John. Think of that map. There's an edge to that map, right? If you go far enough out past the water, I'm sure there's an edge there you can't go past, or like something like that, right?
Well, I mean, for that game in particular, water kills you. So it's all surrounded by water, so there's only so far you can get out.
Okay, well, even then, so that's a barrier in and of itself, though. It's not your typical barrier of like, here's just a wall that exists, or like something like that. But it's like that's a different type of barrier. So that's a good point. So that's actually kind of leads me into my next question for you, John. Is would you think that there's any barriers that you could get past? So just like Infamous, you just said, which I didn't actually know that, so that's perfect. Well, just like Infamous, John, do you think there's something like the water thing where it's like you can't get past it because something might happen to you if you go past it, but it's not a visible barrier necessarily?
Mm-hmm. I'd probably like look into maybe going to overseas, because if my simulated world is just America, maybe everything else is just like not there, because everything I've known is all in America. It's all around here. It would make sense that if it was a simulation, that everything past that, it's like, well, that doesn't matter. We'll put stuff online so it looks like there's stuff over there, but there's really actually nothing over there. And so then I would be like, all right, let's take a plane to see what's going on on the other side of one of the other continents, because if they aren't actually there, then maybe there's a barrier that I can.
That's a great point. I think what I would think of is, because there's two ways to do this, right? If you think truly that the U.S. is the only thing that's playable, quote unquote, right? And that everything else is just filler for the game. What I would do is I would go to any of the northern states to try and figure out if Canada is playable. Because if it's not, then I found a barrier somewhere. I found a barrier that I can try and manipulate if possible. Now, if Canada is there and I can go through it, then, well, that kind of defeats the purpose. But at least we figured out that Canada is playable. Let's say it is in this, for the sake of this argument. Canada is also part of it. But the next thing I would do is actually take a plane to Alaska. Because Alaska, if you go to the very edge of Alaska on the western side of it, you should be able to see Russia. Now, I would think to myself, okay, let me like get a boat and try and go past there, because I wonder if that's even over there, right? Like, I wonder if maybe that's the background or like something like that.
Yeah, like maybe it's not solid.
Right, exactly. What's also interesting is, I don't know what time of the year this is, but at some part during the winter, the water over near Russia and Alaska freezes, so you can actually walk over to Russia. So I'd probably try and time it around there so I can just walk over instead of boating. Because then it defeats the purpose of the water. So if the water was the barrier, I've gone past that, right? So it'd be very interesting. So would you do something like that, or were you just like try and do like research to figure that out?
Yeah, maybe I'd be like, okay, well, let's see. Where would it be kind of finicky if this is all a simulation? If that's a good point. It's like if you can see that there's something over there, so it's like if you are semi-searching, you might be like, oh, there's nothing over there, so this is normal. But it's like if you fully searching, you're like, well, there looks like there's stuff over there, but maybe it's fake. It's just like the rest of the simulation. So maybe there's some sort of break there. So that's a good example for one. As well as like, I can't know what my research was because we aren't in the simulation. Yeah. So that plays a part of it. So I think the Alaska one definitely makes sense for this thought experiment.
Yeah, let's dive further into that actually. So let's say your research, for the sake of the argument, did say that that someone's been over to that area and they found evil vibes from it. They didn't feel right about that area. Something that led you to
evil vibes from Russia.
Yeah, if something's up with them over there. Or another thing that I'm actually going to say for this part of it is you find an article that says they thought they saw a weird they thought they saw a thing clipping into itself over past the border, over past Russia. Which that would tell me instantly, like, oh, that must mean that's not part of the game because there's glitches over there and it's not even like a real thing. It's like a background that's clipping into itself or something like that. So I'd immediately rush over, right? So like, let's say your research says that. Is that what you're doing, or like what would you do with that knowledge?
Yeah, if my research is like things are janky in Russia, I'm like, okay, well let's check that out because things are janky there. Then there's definitely going to be some issues, like or that's near the edge of the border.
Right.
For example, with like we were talking about video games earlier and boundaries in Spider-Man 2, there's a boundary all around the city, but it just like pushes you back towards the city if you try to go out. But if you get away over the boundary, you can see like the buildings that are meant to be like all off in the distance are like kind of like running into each other. Like it's all messed up because you're not meant to be over there.
Interesting.
So that definitely would make sense if it's the edge of the playable area, or not even just the playable area, but the actual area.
Right. Yeah, so let's go with that for this. So let's say you go over to Alaska. You do it at the time where like the water's frozen, so you can kind of just walk past or walk over. And you walk over to Russia, and you realize that exactly what you just said is happening. The mountains are clipping into each other. And again, there's no actual physical barrier, but you keep on walking, and you get to the actual side where Russia is, and you realize that the ground is super squishy. Like, you're on solid ground, what should be solid ground, but it's super squishy and, like, kind of, think of, like, slime. It's kind of bouncy, squishy, like that kind of thing. So what are you thinking in this moment?
I'd be like, okay, this area feels unstable, so I should definitely get some kind of stick or something, so I don't just walk off and fall to a death. Or fall forever.
Yeah.
So, like, kind of, you get a walking stick to be like, alright, is this area safe for me to step on? Yep, okay.
Yeah, my first thought would definitely be like, okay, this part of the map is not finished, or it's unstable, or it's not even meant to be part of the map, or whatever. So I've reached something that could help me get out of here. That's my first thought. Honestly, I'm not sure I'd be smart enough to be like, oh, let me grab a stick so I don't fall to my death. I probably wouldn't be smart enough to do that. I'd probably just die. But, so
you either get out or you die. You know?
Yeah. 50-50, yeah. But John, as you're grabbing your stick to poke things, because it's your poking stick, you turn around and realize that there's a whole mob of people coming after you. So what's your first thought now? Or what's your next thought, I guess, not your first thought?
Well, my first thought is probably something along the lines of, oh shit.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's a great first thought, yeah. So I guess, so like, what's your second thought then?
My second thought would be like, alright, this definitely seems to imply that I'm close because they would not send a horde of enemies after me for no reason. There's got to be something here for me to discover because otherwise, why would these people be here to kill me? So I gotta hurry. I got my poking stick. I got maybe a weapon I brought with me because everyone's been trying to kill me since I found out my parents weren't real. So I got my weapon to defend myself, and I gotta book it for some sort of exit. So I gotta hurry up.
I was hoping you would say my second thought is, oh shit. So your first thought is, oh shit. Your second thought is also, oh shit. I was hoping you'd say that, because that would be really fun. But I mean, yeah, that's a good second response though, because like that's where I was going with that question, by the way. That's what my first thought would be, outside of oh shit, obviously. But that's what my first thought would be, is like, okay, I gotta be getting somewhere close to the end of this because the overlord person is trying to kill me right now. They don't want me to go past wherever I am right now. So I'm booking it. I'm not even worrying about them. I'm just gonna book it towards, like, I'm gonna keep going further into quote unquote Russia and figure out where the map gets even worse, basically. So,
right.
So obviously, let's say you're doing that, you got your poking stick, so you're going a little bit slower because you got to poke the ground a little bit every now and then. But you get a little bit further into quote unquote Russia, and you realize that it just ends. There's just nothing. You've reached the void. So you're still on solid ground. You're not in the void or anything. But if you walk a step further, you don't know if it's like a thing you'd fall into. You don't know if there's ground there. You don't know anything. It's just black. It's just darkness. You can't see anything. And the mob is still coming after you, though. So what are you doing?
Last ditch effort. I chuck my poking stick into the void, and if it bounces off anything, then I know there's a barrier there. If it just goes into the void, then I'm like, well, there goes my poking stick.
Goes my poking stick.
At this point, it's like, it's either dies to the horde or dies to the void. So, that's what I'm thinking at that point.
That's fair. All right. Well, let's use that first thing you said. Then, so you throw your poking stick, your precious poking stick, into the void. As you do it, you see it like kind of glitch and move around. It's like it's glitching. It's not sure what's going on with it, and then you see it sort of get sucked into what looks like a purple barrier. So I guess. So let's go with your thought first. What's your first thought process when does that happen?
I'd be like, okay, that definitely looks like the barrier to get out of here because it had some resistance to the stick flying through because the stick's not meant to leave the simulation. So that's definitely the way out. That's probably my first thought.
All right, and then what are you doing about it? Because the mob is still after you.
Yeah, well, I'd be like, you know what, mob, not getting me today, and I charge and jump at the barrier to get out of it.
Yeah, and so because you took note of the resistance of the stick, even the stick had a hard time going through. You're like pushing against it, but you're not really getting anywhere. So, what would be your thought process there? Like you're like you ran into it. It's like a solid wall though for you right now. It's still like glitchy, and it's still like when you hit it, it still kind of broke a little bit. But like with the stick, it got sucked into it because of something. I'm not going to say what the reason the stick got in. But what would you think about that?
I'd be like, okay, so I did some damage to this barrier, but not enough to get through. So I'll take my weapons, let's say I have a baseball bat, and I just start wailing on it, where I broke a piece of it off, and just see if I can just completely destroy it, or destroy a way out, via smashing.
Via Hulk smashing? I see.
Hulk smashing.
So yeah, that is what it was. So you smack your baseball bat, your poking stick. Well, you don't have a poking stick, but like your bed knife or whatever you had with you, and you start just trying to do as much damage as you possibly can to it. And as you do manage to make a small little hole in the barrier. So now what are you doing? Because the mob is basically right behind you, so you don't have any more time to try and wail at it.
I'll probably see if I can reach in and maybe pull parts of it off. See if I can get in there that way.
Okay, interesting. So even though your thought process there was incorrect, your action is correct because as you put your hand through the barrier, you get sucked in. You get sucked in just because you're past the point of no return, basically. You're just ejected out, basically. So you have escaped the simulation. You land on a metal concrete floor, and you look up and you see a bunch of different people in suits, like just normal, everyday suits, right? And 4 people have guns on you currently. So there's 2 people to the left, 2 people to the right, and you see like the overlord person standing in front of you. So what's your thought process? Because you've just escaped what you thought was, like, obviously you knew it was a simulation at this point, but like you escaped what you thought was real life the first time, and then you also escaped the simulation as well. So you've been through a lot this past couple days. Well, we'll say it's probably a couple days. You've been through a lot this past couple days, and now you finally reached this point. So what are you thinking?
I'm thinking, before I was thinking, oh shit, I'm thinking, oh fuck. They got all these guns on me, like, oh man, this is not good.
Right.
This is definitely not what they wanted. I have, definitely pissed some people off.
Right. Yeah, but at this point, you have to get out of this situation, right? So you have to, you realize that it's not a thing you can just kind of ride out. You got to fight your way out of this situation. So now you realize that the stick you had, that you had thrown through is right beneath your feet right now. Now obviously you didn't take your baseball bat or your other weapons with you because you didn't throw them through the hole. So what are you doing to try and defend yourself here?
Oh, I'd be like, if this is the end, I'm gonna go out swinging. And I grab the poking stick and make it into a whacking stick.
A whacking stick.
And then I'll go for the guys with the guns first. Maybe see if I can get one off of them. Hot style. And then it's just like, just to fight my way out, you know, with my whacking stick and stealing guns from the people I'm whacking.
Interesting. Because if you just like tried to whack a dude with a gun, you're obviously gonna get shot. So like you got to think of like what would be a decent distraction you could do to make at least most of the people with the guns look away.
Well, you know, you could try the Marty McFly strategy of what the hell is that? And, just book it.
That's fair. I mean, let's say for the sake of convenience and sake of time that works because they're stupid or something. But there's one guy that doesn't fall for it because he's a big brain. But you'd be going for him first. So you whack him with your stick, you knock him out, and you do grab his gun. Now his gun is like, let's say it's an AK. Why not? Just whatever. Doesn't matter. Do you start? So he's disarmed. And the other people realize they heard him collapse to the ground, and they turn around and are ready to shoot you. So what are you doing at this point?
I'd probably immediately try to find some cover because they're gonna start shooting. So I'm gonna have to find somewhere to hunker down and get them.
All right. And would you try and get them? Like, or are you just gonna try and talk to them, or are you gonna just start firing?
It's like, well, these guys are trying to kill me. They don't seem to be worrying about my point of view, so I don't think I can talk my way out of this one.
Okay.
So
I guess the next question would be like, well, I guess what's your thought process now? I guess is a better question.
I mean, like, okay, these guys, they're not worried about having a peaceful conversation about this, so I gotta at least make sure I'm protected and in a position where, like, I can get out of this situation so they don't just shoot me at this point. And at least maybe even try to get some information, try to get them monologuing. So I'd be like, as I'm running for cover, be like, why are you doing this? What could possibly be your reason? To see if I can get the monologuing, because, you know, getting the monologuing, as we know from Incredibles, is a valid strategy.
Right, of course. Alright, so let's say you do all that stuff and you're going from cover to cover. You do end up having to kill the guys though, because they are trying to kill you. So like, it's just self-defense, right? But you kill those guys, you come out of your cover, and you realize that the overlord person that was trying to kill you the entire time is just standing in front of a bunch of monitors and in front of a computer screen. He doesn't have any guns though. He doesn't have any guns pointed on you. Now you have his gun pointed on him just in case he tries anything, but that's the situation, right. John. So what are you doing with this situation?
Well, I'd be like, alright, buddy, it's the end of the line. All your guards are dead. Why don't you tell me what's going on here? Because I want to know what's going on. I mean, I'm not just like, alright, poof, you're dead. I've become a mass murderer.
I've become a mass murderer. Okay, alright. Alright, interesting. So he's standing in front of a thing, and you realize behind him you start to see a timer start to tick down. And you ask him what the timer for, but he's not responding to any of your questions. So you have a choice here, John. Do you want to just shoot him and maybe make him talk, or do you just kind of try and talk to him, or do you just want to try and talk to him without shooting, or do you want to just kind of or do you even want to go as far as to just kill him and figure it out yourself?
I'd probably wouldn't just try to kill him and figure it out for myself, because the timer's gotta mean something. Say if it's a self-destruct timer, I want to get out, but I don't know that. So I'd maybe be like, shoot him near his feet to be like, warning shot, tell me what's going on.
Oh, okay, interesting. So you'd fire, but it wouldn't be at him.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, let's say he doesn't give a crap. He doesn't care that you did. He doesn't even flinch that you shot at him. So what are you doing now? The timer's still ticking down.
I'd at this point, like, he's not telling me anything. That time it looks pretty scary. I start just destroying shit. Like, maybe it's the time to like reset the simulation, which would suck me back in. Just start smashing with my whacking stick.
With your whacking stick. The evolution from the poking stick to the whacking stick. So let's say you start to do that, but as you start to do that, you start to see him reaching into his pocket. And in this split second, you have a choice, John. Do you believe he's pulling out a gun to try and murder you, or or do you just hope for the best that it's not a gun? Like, so what are you doing in this situation?
I still using my whacking stick. I try to sweep his legs, knock him over to see what he's got in his pocket. Because if it's a gun, then boom, I'm dead. But if it's some sort of thing to, help me in this situation, then I'm going to yoink that from him.
Interesting. Okay, so let's say you do that and you find out it was a gun, and he still has a hold of it because he never let go of it. So what are you doing?
Well, at this point, it's like, all right, buddy, you're not telling me anything. Now you've pulled a gun on me, and I gotta kill you. Goodbye.
All right, kill or be killed, right? All right, so you've defeated the overlord of the simulation, but the timer is still ticking. It was not a dead man switch, so I'm surprised you didn't immediately think of that. I mean, maybe I'm not. I mean, it's not a thing you might honestly think about immediately. But if I saw a timer and I was like, oh crap, if I kill him, it might be a dead man switch, and if this is an explosion or something, I'm just dead. But luckily, it's not a dead man switch, so you're okay. But you run over to the computer console to figure out what this timer actually is for. And your worst nightmare has come to fruition, John. It is a timer that's going to send you back into the simulation. And it's going to reset it back to the time before. It's going to reset it right to the point before you figured out you were sentient, or before you figured out that you were in a simulation. So you look down at the button and gaze at it intently. Right here, right now, you have a choice to make, John. A choice so important that it will very well shape your destiny. You could press the button and override the simulation. In doing so, you will be free, but you will be alone. With the override button pressed, it completely dismantles the simulation for good, meaning it can never be rebuilt. You would be completely alone in this new world, a world devoid of life outside of basic animals, so no other humans exist. You would have to scavenge and hunt in order to survive, before eventually dying of natural causes. Or alternatively, you don't have to touch the button at all, and let the time expire, thus thrusting you back into the simulation. You would have your family, you would have your friends, you would have your home. But deep down you would know that none of it's real. At the end of the day, it's all fake. Everything that will happen for the rest of your life will be scripted and predictable. Free will be but a thing of the past, as everyone around you is as a husk of their real selves. Their love for you might be real to them, but will it be for you? In the simulation, you can live a normal life. You would have your original life back, with your friends, your memories, and everything else that you previously had. But no matter how you look at it, the world you'd be living in would be fake. So what do? Do you leave the button alone and go back to the amazing life you had, with your family, your friends, and your memories? Or do you press the button and leave behind the simulation for good and continue to live in this harsh world where no humans exist? The last choice you have is right in front of you. What's it going to be? What reality do you want to have?
Question. Pros and cons.
So this is a big choice, so feel free to think out loud and take your time.
See, because the thing is, like, if I am living in a simulation my whole life, and knowing it's a simulation, it's like, part of it's gonna be like, I don't want to be living in something that I know is fake. If I, live in a survival world, I at least can, know that what I'm doing matters, it is real, and affects me, and I have free will. But, at the same time, I'm alone. So, maybe it's like this is actually a prequel, to the Vanish button, and I gotta hit the button to set things on its right course. So that's what I'm thinking.
Okay, so you're pressing the button.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, interesting. So you're pressing the button and overriding the simulation and kind of like dismantling it so that you can never be sucked back into it.
Yes.
Interesting decision. All right. Yeah, so that one, I mean, that's a big decision because it's like you like John was saying, there's pros and cons to both, right? Is yes, if you go back in the simulation, it goes right back to right before you figured out the simulation, which then means your parents are still alive. Your parents would still be there. Now, they would still be scripted. They're still like NPCs, but you still had the memories and love for them that you did before you figured out all this thing happened. So at the end of the day, they're still your family. You still had your friends. You still had your memories, especially the memories are the big part there. So you'd have all that stuff, and you'd go back to the life you were living before. But at the same time, you know it's all fake. You know that it's scripted. You know that it's predictable. Everything that everyone else does around you, it was destined to happen. There's nothing that would have changed it. Now, you have a little bit of free will, obviously because you know it's a simulation, but no one else does, and you can never make anyone else realize that either. Because if you just say, oh, we're in a simulation, they're like, okay, conspiracy theorists, or whatever, right? So you can't do anything to change that. But on the other side of the coin, you have the fact that if you press the button, you dismantle the simulation, which is all great, but then you're in a world where you're by yourself. The only thing that really exists is just basic animals that you're gonna have to kill for food. That's it. And you don't even know how harsh the world is. Right now you're in a building, like a big building, and you don't know what life is out there. It could be a complete hellscape. It could be like Venus, where it's like 400 degrees outside, and it just sucks, right? Or like, well, 400 degrees would kill you, but like, let's say it's like 110 degrees out constantly. It could be like a hellish landscape. You don't know, because if you press the button and you walk outside and it is a hellish landscape, you're stuck there now. You can't go back to the simulation because you've overrid it. So it's a tough decision. And for me personally, I'd probably press the button. I don't think I'd want to go back to. I mean, yes, I would be alone in this universe, which that would suck. But at least I would have like true free will, and I would understand that I'm not in a simulation, or maybe because that's another thing. Like, how do you know this other layer is not a simulation? You can probably assume it's not, because that would just be strange. And for the sake of this episode, it's not a simulation. You're in the real world at this point. Yeah, so I'd probably press the button as well. That's probably I'd probably make the same decisions. But I'd probably because let's say the timer just had 2 minutes on it, so you'd have time to kind of think about this. Not a lot of time, but enough time to kind of consider the pros and cons. But yeah, John, you kind of already said some of them, but were there any other reasons why you're pressing the button specifically?
If you are living in a real world that is maybe if it is a nightmarish hellscape, or if it is, as you're saying, it's just me, then at that point, I'd rather live in a world where it's real and I know it's gonna end because everyone dies, and live in a fictional world where I know it's going to end because everyone dies. Because at least I can control some of the stuff that's happening to me, other than predestination, which would just cause me to be like, oh, I'm on the set path. I have no say in anything.
Right. Yeah, I mean, that's fair. But yeah, so that's the final, I guess, thing of the override button. That's why it's called the override button, because you actually had to override. You didn't have to, I guess, but you had the choice of overriding the simulation. So there you go. So that is the final episode of the Reset Button trilogy. I've had a lot of fun making these kind of I guess what do you call these? Scenarios, because they're not because the Reset Button episode where the world forgets you, that from a personal perspective could happen. So that's not fictional necessarily. The Vanish Button, again, probably not necessarily a real life thing that could happen. The Override Button is probably not gonna happen. But it's still interesting to put John through this, scenario to see what his thoughts is, to see what he would do, like all that kind of stuff. That's what the point of these 3 episodes were. The reset button, the vanish button, same thing. So, yeah, I had a lot of fun making them. But John, any thoughts on the series as a whole?
I quite like them. They somewhat reminded me, especially the last 2, of D&D, weirdly enough, except without the dice mechanics and the playing as a different character. It's just like, this is a scenario, like, what you can choose what to do and try to figure out what's going on. That's just what I was reminded of, and I thought it was pretty cool.
Interesting. Just out of curiosity, it doesn't really matter to me, but do you have a favorite out of the 3?
I think the Vanish Button, that one was really fun.
Interesting. Yeah, I think, if I had to choose, I'm the one that made it, but if I had to choose one out of the 3, I don't know, I think the reset button was a 10 out of 10 home run. Like, I don't know what made me think of that idea in the first place. Yeah, that was also back when we had the third guy here. I guess the Vanish button would have been there too. But either way, it doesn't matter. But yeah, the Vanish button, I think, is really good as well. That one, in case you guys didn't listen, was everyone on the face of the earth has randomly disappeared. Like, just freaking deleted, basically, right? And so, like, that kind of thing. And because I guess, actually, that one is interesting because the plot point of that was, like, the Earth starts to lose power because no one else is there and you can't run it, obviously. So, like, the Earth starts to lose power, I think it's after, like, 7 days. Or it's not 7 days. Maybe it's, like, 4 or 5 days. Because I guess if humans disappeared for 4 or 5 days, the power grid would still be running. But because there's no one else to kind of keep it running, it would stop after like 5 days. So there was a lot of interesting plot points in the Vanish Button one. Yeah, so that's going to do it for this episode, guys. John, you win. Congratulations. You had just enough points to beat Jeff. Jeff was really close. Jeff had a lot of good points. He did call you bald, which I gave him 10 extra points for. So, he was pretty close, but you are the winner, so good job.
You're right, Jeff.
Thank you guys so much for listening. We hope you provoked the conversation, made you laugh along the way. You can find me over on YouTube at FlabsXC Gaming. Tons of content over there for you guys. I played Deltarune Chapter 3 and 4 already, so if you want to go watch all that, feel free. Lots of other stuff there over there as well. I don't know what I'd be doing in this exact moment in time, but probably continuing different series and stuff like that. So go check it out. You can find John in a couple different places, mainly Twitch and YouTube, but you can find him at Twitch at JeevonsFeebens and on YouTube at JeevonsFeebens as well. You can also check out his VOD channel, JeevonsFeebens VODs, which is my personal favorite channel of his because I love watching back the old live streams. Because Twitch sucks and like they gets rid of them after 10 days or whatever it is. So they're not reliable in that sense, but luckily he uploads them to YouTube so I can watch them there. And I often find myself going back to watch them. Like I recently actually just watched the very first Deltarune one again, Deltarune Chapter 1 or Episode 1. Just I wanted to watch it again. So yeah, go check it out. Subscribing is free and encouraged, so go do it. Yeah. So John, you want to tell them what happens if you don't subscribe though?
If you don't, I will have to send a hitman to your location to take you out because you cannot have people in this world who do not know about my Twitch and YouTube channels. So if that were to happen, you're gonna have to die. I'm sorry. I don't make it.
Damn. Damn. Just public execution immediately. Alright, you heard the man. So if you want to live, subscribe. This is obviously a joke.
For legal reasons, it's a joke.
Yes. Yeah, you can also find us on Twitter. I'm not calling it X. Twitter and Instagram so on Twitter it's the Provokers Pod, and then on Instagram it's the Provokers Podcast Official. We post updates on when episodes go live, and some special stuff as well. I'll be posting about the whole the fact that we were on the radio soon. I'm working with someone else to do that type of thing as well. So you'll get updates like that. You'll get project updates, and you'll get updates on when things go live, and all sorts of good stuff. So go check us out. And then you can find us over on Patreon as well. So of course we have the tiers and stuff. So the more you pay, the more you get, obviously. So you can go check out the tiers. But we also have extended cuts. Now extended cut episodes are really fun because they're just 30 to 40 minute episodes of just purely whatever the topic is. So think of like a normal episode, but the intro, I mean, this still is sort of an intro, but like there's no winner or loser, there's no headlines or anything. It's just like it's just purely the topic. And we've done a couple games over there. For example, if you want to figure out if you want to watch the original Towers or Wavelength, both of those are over there. So go check those out. The first $3 or $5, that way you can kind of dip your toes in it. If you don't like it, it's $3. It's less than a Big Mac. So no skin off your back or anything. And but if you do like it, then the other ones just become $5, so it's a bit more of a better experience. Because they're way better. The first 5 are kind of like, they're good, but they're not really good. So, but yeah. So thank you guys so much for listening to this episode, and we'll see you guys next time.